Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, former State Senator Dallas Harris joins us here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Here on 7 at 7, we're bringing you the local headlines in just 7 minutes.
We've got you covered in the morning, evening, and for all breaking news in between and as it happens.
Life is busy, and we don't waste your time. Join us for local news now streaming on our YouTube page.
A new year brings new ways to win big with the $150,000 flurry of cash giveaways at Carson Valley Inn. Thursday and Saturday prize drawings, including up to $5,000 in cash and up to $10,000 during the grand prize giveaways, only at the Carson Valley Inn.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Welcome to the Winnemucca Big R.
Hi, I'm John Walker. Welcome to Big R Lovelock.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. Welcome to Fallon Big R.
My name is Braden. Welcome to Big R Fernley.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome to Big R Sparks.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. We're joined by one of my favorite people, former State Senator Dallas Harris. Pleasure to have you back on the program.
It's a pleasure to be here, Sam. Feelings mutual, friend.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
We're taping this on February the 6th. Which means that instead of being in Carson City, you were in Las Vegas. What are your thoughts about not being in Carson City for the session?
Well, I'll tell you, the weather down here is much better.
Yes.
What is it? Low 70s?
Yes.
As opposed to some of the snow and treacherous cold I know my former colleagues are dealing with up there.
Yeah, and 85-mile-an-hour winds at my house last Sunday.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I will be playing tennis tomorrow.
Okay, well, then there's a great degree of envy coming from Carson City at this moment. So as you look at what's going to happen over the next 4 months, what do you think should be the most important things on the legislators' minds?
Well, it's the absolute basics. First and foremost, the budget. That is the legislature's #1 directive, constitutional directive. Let's make sure we get our state government fully funded and funding the things that'll matter for Nevadans. The second thing is addressing education. The majority leader has a fantastic, transformative education bill out there to make sure that we really finally get Nevada the jump start that it needs. We've needed to address this forever, and just like we've taken on the funding formula, the Democrats are taking on now education as a whole, and I look forward to seeing that being done. So it's the things that matter to people. That's what they're up there to do, and I expect my colleagues to work on that.
Okay, so let's pick up on the education budget part there. What are the things that you're looking at there that are exciting to you?
Well, With the revamped funding formula, as I mentioned, any additional funds that we've seen coming into the state, our casinos have been doing fairly well, are going to flow into education, so additional money is great there. I'm actually really also very excited about universal pre-K. We need that here in Nevada, and frankly, it'll be a model for the rest of the country. I don't know if you remember, but former President Biden, in his original Build Back Better plan, would have had universal pre-K for everyone across the country. I'm excited to see it here. That's going to be transformational change for the next generation.
Okay, when you look at pre-K, what do you see it as? Because to me, I think the biggest need in the state is for childcare, and so anything that works its way towards that, I'm in favor of. What do you see in terms of education beyond that? Because I don't know about you, but to me, I don't remember anything from 2, 3, barely 4 years old.
Yeah, well, you know what, humans are amazing little things, and we can put in, science has shown, put in basics at a very foundational level that will make great strides in educational differences over time. You know, it's not always this kind of conscious thing, but we do know that when children are exposed to a robust pre-K system, their ability to learn and absorb new information and retain that later on in schooling is increased. We want to give all of our children the very best chance possible.
I think the other part of it, though, if you don't mind me going down that road, is that this would open up financially so much money and an ability to work for so many people, because they wouldn't have to stay home to take care of their kids, because right now the cost of childcare is so high. So what do you think that effect would be on the job situation in Nevada, especially here in Las Vegas?
Yeah, look, Sam, this is something I'm living right now. I've got a 3-year-old myself. She'll be 4 in a couple of months here, and I'm paying for child care weekly, a number that I don't really want to talk about. So I know it's expensive for families, and it's really a strain on financial resources. I would be for universal child care. That's a slightly separate issue from universal pre-K, when we're really talking about setting children up for success in those formative years right before they enter school. Universal child care is a much bigger issue, a little bit more expensive, but trust me, I'd be on board with the state trying to tackle that as well, given its benefits for society and allowing people to work and kind of taking some of that burden off of the average middle-class family.
How would you pay for it?
Well, the good news is that's not my problem anymore, thank goodness, right? I mean, look, here in Nevada, paying for universal child care is going to be really difficult. I don't know if we have the sufficient tax base to be able to do something like that. We would really have to make a substantial investment and decide that that's what we want to do. I know that the majority leader has a really good plan in place to cover universal pre-K. That's a great place to start, and it's really past time that we've done that.
The other big ticket item that I'm looking at is mental health.
Yeah.
It seems like in every area that is one of the first things that comes up as a major need. Do you put the funding for that before anything else?
Wow. I mean, it's really hard when you're, a decision maker and you're up there putting the budget together to place one thing like mental health over education of our children, let's say. Those priorities you really do have to be able to think about simultaneously. Mental health is something that I think costs us a lot of additional dollars on the back end if we don't ensure that we have the resources and the space to really give people the care that they need. And so it's a very high priority, and I know that my former colleagues in Carson City are going to make sure that mental health is fully addressed. That's why in the state, we fund education and health. Before anything else. Those are the two biggest portions of our state's budget, and that's because those are our biggest priorities. We have to continue to push as many additional dollars as we can into both of those resources, and especially on those preventative resources.
Okay, so education in the last session, which you were there for.
Yeah.
Over $2 billion went into education. Do you feel comfortable that we have seen results from that for the kids?
Well, I haven't seen the school district's latest achievement numbers, so that's something that's really hard to discern. It's also really hard to know right now, right? I don't know if you can judge the immediate return of $2 billion into education over 2 years, right? We're probably going to have to take a wider lens and take a look at that. But we do know that there are plans to ensure that there's accountability for those dollars moving forward. And that's really important. That's the way that we're going to ensure that as we push additional dollars, that it's reaching the students that need those resources.
Okay, so, to me, you divide up education, as I say, to me, into two things. One is working with the unions to make sure that teachers are paid a reasonable salary, reasonable benefits, and all of that. But the other part is accountability, that the students are actually learning. And when you look even nationally, not to just blame Nevada, but you look nationally at reading standards, for example, they're abysmal.
Yeah.
What do you do about that?
That's the existential question, isn't it? No one has one silver bullet.
That's the new area I've moved into, is existential.
Yeah. Existential, exactly, yeah. No one has the silver bullet on that. And what we need to do is make sure that we're listening to the voices who are on the ground, listening to teachers, listening to parents, listening to students, that we're trying to make sure we're taking a look at best models across the country, so that where we see things that are working, we're bringing that here to Nevada, right? We want to make sure that we're continuing to invest in the best teachers. We want to make sure we have homegrown teachers here in Nevada. We know that works and increases student outcomes. We want to make sure that we have the ability to have lower student class ratios, right? We know certain of these things work, right? So let's keep ensuring that we're getting there. I don't know if we've achieved everything that we know could improve our education system here in Nevada. Let's go to the things that we know that work, and some of those are going to take additional funds.
As you talk to kids who are now in their early 20s, who lived through COVID while they were in school, there are still a lot of issues that we need to deal with.
Yeah.
Do you come across that in your everyday life?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only do I have a soon-to-be 4-year-old, but I've also got a just turned 13-year-old. So I've got a new teenager in my home as well, who was at home for second and third grade, and even I've seen some of the issues that he struggles with. For example, social interaction's just a little bit different than it used to be. And that's not just COVID, but kind of a larger transition in the world that we've seen as people have kind of moved inward, right? Children don't play outside as much. And a lot of interactions are via text. Right? He uses a lot of lowercase i's when communicating. And that's just the way that the world has kind of changed. These things are worrisome in some ways, but natural in others. And we're going to have to see what the effects are. I think our children are fortunately very resilient. And they're still in their learning, and we've got great teachers in the classroom working with our kids every day. We'll have to see what some of those long-term effects are, and I know that the people in charge of our education system are working on addressing that.
It's interesting. Whenever I come across young students in classes, I was recently at a podcast class. It's actually a newsroom at Carson Middle School. And they put out podcasts, and they do a daily newscast. And they did a Q&A with me, and they were so impressive. I mean, just so impressive.
Yeah.
And when people say, oh, well, kids have, and it's like, no, you don't understand.
So much hope.
There's a lot of really smart kids out there, and they're working their way up, even at very young ages.
Yeah, Sam, if I can, I'll just highlight the Nevada Youth Legislature program that's run by former State Senator Valerie Weiner. Time and time again during session, I have seen some of these children come in, present bills in front of the legislature, and simply blow some of these other adult presenters out of the water. So there's absolutely no question that our future is bright.
Yeah, to say the least. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back more with former State Senator Dallas Harris after this timeout.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain, moving 95% of our freight in the Silver State. And while essential, the road isn't always smooth. Supply chain disruptions, rising fuel costs, and unrealistic rules and laws that hamper our ability to serve our customers and country. Our prosperity and every sector of the economy, manufacturing, mining, medicine, and food from farm to table, is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with former State Senator Dallas Harris. Movie studios in Nevada came up in the last session.
Yeah.
It's moving ahead in this session. What are your thoughts on movie studios and giving them tax breaks, etc.?
Well, I think they got a lot of work to do to convince some of the people up there making decisions that it's going to be worth it. It's a cost-benefit analysis that has to be done. You know, we're going to put forward, or they're asking the state to put forward some public dollars in order to return jobs, high-paying jobs, hopefully, for a certain amount of employees, a return in investment in the state. If it's worth it, then the state will likely make the deal, and the leaders in charge will be willing to do it. If they can't show why the state should put its money forward, then I don't see it happening.
Obviously, from a business point of view, that all makes sense. Do you think the legislators are excited by the stars that are coming to visit them there? I know there was a lot of excitement last session. Is that enough to get things across the finish line, or do they need to bring Tyler Perry from Georgia and explain how this works?
Well, it wasn't enough last session. I took a photo with Jeremy Renner, I'll be honest, but I wasn't going to likely vote for the bill if it came to the floor. I think we had
what was missing?
Well, the state's money to be able to really put that type of dollars forward. I didn't see the return. Right, I wasn't particularly convinced, and we didn't get into the nitty-gritty as we did in the A's bill, so I don't want to suspect that I could not have been convinced. But I wasn't there yet with the amount of money that the bill last session we were being asked to invest. I believe the numbers this session are a little bit different, so we'll see how the calculus comes out.
Okay, but now when you look at something like Allegiant Stadium, for example, were you in favor of that initially, and how do you feel about its success now?
I was not in the legislature when.
No, but I mean, you were aware of it.
I was vaguely aware of it, but I'll say, at that time, my responsibility was not to the state and making sure that our budget was fiscally responsible, right? You have different priorities at different times. And so honestly, I didn't have an opinion on Allegiant Stadium at the time prior to entering the legislature. And I don't know how I would have voted at the time. Would need to be privy to some of the analysis that was available. I will say that undeniably Allegiant Stadium has been a success for the state. Part of the reason why I think is because one, it doesn't rely on tax dollars that the state has to put forward, right? It's generated based on room revenue. It's not based on the production of the stadium itself. And so when the stadium, if it wasn't doing well, as long as our rooms were being booked, that money was going to be able to be allocated. I think the stadium, the A Stadium, was proposed to be done a little bit differently. The Allegiant's a larger stadium. It's at 60,000. We didn't have a stadium that size, so we wouldn't have been able to accommodate Taylor Swift's era tour prior to that. Again, another difference, I think, with the A's Stadium, where we've got 30,000 and we've got T-Mobile and some other places that are already in that range. So, I can think of some minor differences that might have swayed me one way or the other on Allegiant, but that's undeniably been a success for the state.
Oh, to say the least. Right. We'll take another break. We'll be back with Dallas Harris after this timeout.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
The new year is bringing so much fun to Tamarack Casino with cash and free play drawings Thursdays and Saturdays, and 40,000 in grand finale giveaways Thursday, February 27th. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with former State Senator Dallas Harris. You worked with the PUC for a while,
yeah.
And I was kind of curious to get your take on all these data centers that are popping up across the state, and the line of data centers is growing and growing, not just here but across the country. What are your thoughts on those and the amount of power that they need to run?
Yeah. Hey, better here than somewhere else, right? We've talked a long time about diversifying Nevada's economy. This is a great way to do it. And, we're consuming a lot of data these days. Human beings are putting out unbelievable amounts of data, especially with the development of AI. And so these data centers need to be built, and why not have them here in Nevada?
Lots of land. I was talking to Tina Quigley. It used to be relatively cheap land, not so much anymore. But with Project Greenlink, it's under construction now. The dirt has been moved. It's going to be an expensive project. I saw that they're looking to perhaps spread out the cost of that over 70 years. I've never heard of any public works project like that where it gets paid for over 70 years. There's going to be a lot more things developed in that field over the next, 5, 10, 20 years.
Sure.
How far out do you push the timeline, and can the consumer afford it?
Well, if you push it out 70 years, it becomes a bit more bearable, I think. I'm actually not worried about that kind of extended timeline, and that's mostly because the investment's going to give return over the life of that portion. And as more development occurs, you can add more people, more customers to be able to spread the costs of the investment over that time. So I know my other former colleagues at the PUC have taken a really good look at this. And the legislatures had a say in the GreenLink project as well. So it'll be managed in good hands. NV Energy has built untold amounts and miles of infrastructure and transmission, and so they know what they're doing. Will be just fine. We've been able to, I think, keep our rates here in Nevada relatively low, and that's because we've got a fairly good regulatory agency and a utility that is well practiced.
And interesting that coal is finally going away. Very soon, Valmy will shut down the last coal plant in Nevada.
Yeah, it's a long time coming. That was a tough one.
Yeah. How do you feel, just on a nationwide basis, of nuclear power, which is the cleanest form of energy, but people in this country have been terrified of for so long? Microsoft wants to open up one of the reactors at 3 Mile Island that was shut down, not because it was dangerous, but just they didn't have a financial use for it. What's your thought about that?
Nuclear energy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, as a lifelong Nevadan, my position on nuclear energy has always begun and ended at No Yucca Mountain. And so I'll just probably leave it there.
All right. That's where we have to leave it. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for doing this. We're going to miss you in Carson City.
All right. Thanks.
And we'll be right back. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. And our thanks to the staff and management of the Ahern Hotel, taking good care of us as always. Stay here when you're in Las Vegas. We'll see you on the next broadcast.